Cookies for you. Will my fingers do? You've undoubtedly noticed the lack of space giraffe. I haven't seen her in a few days now. I am concerned. I am concerned for her. And I've been trying to occupy myself by learning about history and drinking wine laced with hallucinogenic drugs. I would like to share some with you now. The history, of course, not the wine laced with hallucinogenic drugs. That's all for Wilman now, isn't it? Yes. Many of us are under the impression that secret societies hold their origins in the mystery cults of the ancient Middle East. This, of course, is rubbish, complete bollocks, the whole lot of it. What? Secret societies, in truth, hold their origins in the 1800s. England, specifically, saw a rise in gentlemen's clubs that became known as fraternal orders. And these fraternal orders were made up of rich white men, merchants and lawyers and other bourgeoisie types. And then came the aristocrats, and with them a bohemian environment, a place where rich and slightly richer could converse free of the social chains of class separation. And they began to perform rituals involving interpretive dance and flamboyant clothing, spooky language. And what's causing all this? What's causing these rich white men to wear sequins robes and their wives' hats? Well, according to Professor Thomas Madden, who I didn't at all just make up just now, it's a form of medieval nostalgia. Professor Madden proposes that the rituals of these fraternal orders were actually a regular occurrence to people in medieval times. Solemn ceremonies that involved fancy clothes and sparkly jewelry and the swearing of oaths helped to give life meaning. By the 18th century, these traditions had all but disappeared. Fraternal orders, therefore, were merely trying to revive a forgotten way of life. Let's take a walk down the hallway, it's a long way, it takes all day. Picture in your mind Virginia. Lush fields of tobacco and hemp, as far as the eye cares to see. Nestled amongst them an inn owned by a blacksmith named Ephraim B. Now, Ephraim B. was an eccentric alcoholic whoremonger, yes. He was also exceedingly rich and had a moral compass that occasionally pointed north. For Ephraim, you see, between his drunken sexcapades, was a member of the Underground Railroad. And Ephraim would hold large galas, and he would say to entire communities, "All who wish to come may come." And when he was sure that everybody was right licked up and doing the things that rabbits do, sexually, I mean, he and a group of co-conspirators, sober co-conspirators, would sneak off into the night, and they would guide slaves through the region to the next safe house. Ephraim was a good man and thorough. And tales of his great deeds spread far and wide, as far as China, to the emperor himself. And the emperor, upon hearing the tales of Ephraim B, knew that this man and this place at this time was the man that he had been waiting for. The emperor of China traveled to Virginia, to the inn nestled amongst the fields of tobacco and hemp, to Ephraim B. And he told Ephraim B a story about how for centuries the emperor of China was tasked with keeping safe the records of the most sacred of all fraternal orders, Clampus Vitus. A history dating back to the mystic cults of the ancient Middle East circa 4004 BC. Alas, a local cataclysm had destroyed the library of Clampus Vitus, as well as most of its documents. Fearful that the legacy would forever be lost, the Emperor of China traveled to Virginia to Ephraim B and tasked him with not only keeping what remained safe, but to spread the word of Clampus Vitus, that it may live on forevermore. And so Ephraim B traveled east, sustaining himself on the meat of bears he killed using an intricate system of pulleys, until at last he came to the town of Mokalumna Hill in California. And there, in Mokalumna Hill, Ephraim B met Joseph Zumwalt, and together they founded the 1001st chapter of Clampus Vitus. Before long, Clampus Vitus spread across California, taking over mining towns previously believed to be Freemason strongholds. For unlike the Freemasons, who did not allow alcohol in their lodges, Clampus Vitus wouldn't allow you in the lodge unless you were half in the bag, missing a shoe and looking for more. You can see why this appealed to miners. Clampus Vitus promoted the freewheeling good times often associated with carnivals and burlesque houses. To them, the fool was king, and it was your solemn duty to drink hard, party harder, and fuck like it was the cure for cancer. The credo of Clampus Vitus is Credo Quien Absurdium. I don't speak Latin, and my babblefish is dying. Their ritual garb is a mixture of red and black, often accompanied by a funny hat adorned with medals and jewelry made out of tin cans and bits of string. There is strict equality in the lodge of Clampus Vitus, but that hasn't stopped them from creating phantasmagorical titles, now has it? No! Delegations of Clampus Vitus include the noble Grand Humbug, the Grand Interminable Hangman, and perhaps greatest of all, though not really because he's equal to everybody else, the Roisterous Icatus. But the life of a clamper, as they were known, wasn't all funny hats and drunken fornication. No, you see, they also fancied themselves to be quite charitable, making it a mission to look after those who had lost a husband or father to the dangerous work often associated with mining. A common clamper phrase at the time was, "We're for widows and orphans, but especially the widows. Sexually, I mean." Sadly, as the booming era of the gold rush came to an end, so too did E. Clampus Vitus. By 1910, only a single chapter in Marysville, California remained, an ill-attended relic of days gone by. Join us again whenever my babblefish is properly charged, and we will continue our saga of E. Clampus Vitus, a secret society that I assure you I did not make up while under the influence of wine laced with hallucinogenic drugs.